So we'll now proceed to our next substitution technique, which is trigonometric substitutions. So for trigonometric substitutions, we just need to consider three conditions. So these are the conditions. First, if or when the integrand involves a squared minus x squared, then the substitution would be x is equal to a sine theta. If it's a squared plus x squared, so meaning dito minus, ito naman plus, then we'll use x is equal to a tangent theta. And if the integrand involves x squared minus a squared or variable minus constant, then we need to use x is equal to a secant theta. So why are we using these substitutions? One way of showing this is just if we consider this relationship or this equation, we have x is equal to a sine theta. So for x is equal to a sine theta, we could rewrite this as sine theta is equal to x over a. And if we reconstruct the triangle like we've been doing in the previous lessons and also in our bridging classes, that means for this right triangle, this angle is theta, and since theta is opposite over hypotenuse, therefore the other on the opposite side is x and the hypotenuse is a. So therefore the other side is square root of a squared minus x squared. And dahil ito yung involved niya, ito yung lalabas. And actually it is also applicable, or it is we could also use cosine for this. But okay lang naman because they are just complement. Sine and cosine are just some complement. Okay, ganun din for tangent. If we reconstruct x is equal to a tangent theta, or that would be tangent theta is equal to x over a, then we'll have a similar triangle. Oh no, yeah. We'll have this triangle wherein this angle is theta. Then since tangent is opposite over adjacent, so we'll have this triangle. And the hypotenuse would be the square root of a squared plus x squared. So, because of this, tangent yung relationship niya. And, of course, you could also use cotangent dito because ganun pa rin yung relationship niya. Reciprocal lang kasi, di ba? So, or complement lang sila. So, therefore, pwede din gumamit dito ng a cotangent theta. And if you do the same with secant, ganun din makukuha natin. We'll have this triangle. Diba? Secant is hypotenuse x over adjacent a. So therefore, the other side is just the square root of x squared minus a squared. Okay? So, ganun din. And for secant, pwede din tayong gumamit ng cosecant or the complement of secant. That's a complement of secant. Okay. For the sake of generalization, we could also generalize this variable as a function. So, if u is a function of x pa rin, then we could generalize that if we have a squared minus u squared, then of course, pwede nating itry ang u is equal to a sine theta. So, ganun pa rin. So, if we have a squared plus u squared, then we'll try u is equal to a tangent theta. So, to illustrate this substitution technique, let us solve for this problem. So we need to evaluate I. I is equal to the integral of x cubed times the square root of a squared minus x squared dx. So a squared minus x squared yung nag-appear sa integral. So therefore, we need to use x is equal to a sine theta. So if we do that, we let x equal to a sine theta. It follows that dx is equal to the derivative of a sine theta. That's a cosine theta d theta. And if x is equal to a sine theta, and in our original integral, x squared and x cubed appears, then we say that x squared is just equal to the square of a sine theta. That's a squared sine squared theta. And of course, x cubed is just a cubed sine cubed theta. So if we substitute now, we'll have I is equal to the integral of x cubed, which is a cubed sine cubed theta, times the square root of a squared minus x squared, which is a squared sine squared theta, times dx, ayan, times dx, which is a cosine theta d theta. Okay, then we just need to simplify. Since these are constants, a times a cubed, that's a raised to 4. Ilabas na lang natin. because it's a constant. So a raised to 4 times the integral of sine cube theta times cos sine theta. So that would be this and this. Then what will happen here is isa na lang natin times the square root of a squared. Oh, how about if I factor out a squared, that would become a squared times 1 minus sine squared theta. Okay? Then d theta. So, therefore, this is sine cube theta cosine theta. Therefore, this becomes the square root of a squared, and by Pythagorean identity, this is actually cosine squared theta times cosine squared theta d theta. Okay, so therefore, I is equal to a raised to 4 times the integral of sine cube theta cosine theta times the square root of a squared theta cosine theta. That's a cosine theta d theta. So therefore, we'll have, ilabas na lang natin yung a because it's a constant. So we'll have a raised to 5 times the integral of sine cube theta cosine squared theta d theta. So let's proceed to substitution technique again. So eto siya, this could be sine theta times sine squared theta because eto yung odd, 'di ba? Yung odd exponent. So dito tayo mag-substitute. So therefore, I'll rewrite this as a raised to 5 times integral of sine theta times that is sine theta times sine squared theta, and sine squared theta is 1 minus cosine squared theta times cosine squared theta d theta. Okay, then we'll have a raised to 5 times the integral of, or ganitohin muna natin, times the integral of sine theta cosine squared theta d theta minus the integral of sine theta cosine raised to 4 theta d theta. Okay, and therefore this is just a raised to 5 times what will happen here. This now resembles u raised to n du, right? If this is our u, this is our n, du, the derivative of cosine theta d theta, the derivative of cosine theta is just negative sine theta d theta. No? So therefore, this is u raised to n du. So that would become cosine cube theta, negative cosine cube theta over 3, then minus, para dito, ganun pa rin. This is u raised to n du. So that would be minus negative cosine raised to 5 theta over 5. Okay, plus c. So therefore, that's negative a raised to 5 thirds cosine cube theta plus a raised to 5 fifth cosine raised to 5 theta plus c. But wait, there's more. The original equation is the original integral is in terms of x, so we need to substitute x. Actually, mas madali yung mas madali yung algebraic substitution dito that we solved in our previous example. I think that eto. So our answer should be this. Okay. Okay, let's continue. So, ang gagawin natin for cosine, we will just reconstruct the triangle that involves theta and cosine. So, i-reconstruct natin. If this is theta, no, remember that ano yung substitutions natin? X is equal to a sine theta. So, if we reconstruct this, a is, sine theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So, therefore, the opposite side is x, adjacent side is a, and this is square root of a squared minus x squared. Okay? And cosine is just, okay, so therefore, cosine theta is just equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, a. Okay? So therefore, our integral I will become negative a raised to 5 thirds, then cosine cube. So we know that cosine is square root of a squared minus x squared over a, then cube, plus a raised to 5 over 5 cosine raised to 5. So the square root of a squared minus x squared over a raised to 5. So let us just simplify this. Sorry, meron pa palang plus c. Yan. So simplify natin. Dito na lang. Then plus c. So of course, this becomes a cube, diba? Then cancel out dito. So we'll have I is equal to negative a squared over 3. Then we'll have a squared minus x squared raised to 3 halves. Plus, eto naman, maka-cancel out na, no? A raised to 5. So we'll have 1 over 5 a squared minus x squared raised to 5 halves plus c. So this is our answer. Sobrang haba because we use trigonometric substitution technique, which is just the same as our previous answer in the previous problem. But algebraic substitution ginamit natin. They are the same. Yeah, pareho. Okay, let's proceed to our next sample problem. This is one of the problems sa problem set ninyo. So, at least mababawasan na yung problem set niyo. Okay, suppose we have I is equal to the integral of x cubed dx over the square root of x squared plus 9. Okay. So in this case, yung lumabas dito na sa integral is ang x squared plus 9, and that resembles x squared plus a squared or a squared plus x squared. And we know that if yun yung lumabas sa integral, we just need to use x is equal to a tangent theta. But our a squared here is 9. So a squared is equal to 9. So therefore, ang gagamitin natin a is 3. So therefore, our substitution would be, we let x be equal to a, which is 3 tangent theta. So that would be our substitution. So dx now is just equal to 3 secant squared theta d theta. And it also follows that if we have x cubed, we just raise this to 3. So we'll have 3 cubed, that's 27 tangent cube theta. And for x squared, para dito, that would be 9 tangent squared theta. So if we proceed now to our substitutions, I will be equal to the integral of x cubed, that's 27 tangent cube theta, all over x squared, square root of x squared, which is 9 tangent squared theta, plus 9 times dx, which is 3 secant squared theta d theta. And we just need to simplify. So therefore, I is equal to, I'll just factor out 27 times 3. That would be 81. So I'll take 81 out. So this becomes tangent cube theta secant squared theta d theta over the square root of, I'll factor out 9, so this becomes tangent squared theta plus 1. And we know that tangent squared theta plus 1 is secant squared theta. So therefore, our integral, or I, becomes the integral of tangent cube theta secant squared theta d theta over, sorry, yung 9, pwede nating ilabas na lang yung 9. Oh no, the square root of 9 is 3. Sige, mamaya na lang. That would be the square root of 9 secant squared theta. Okay? So, therefore, we'll have I, that is 81 times the integral of, this becomes tangent cube theta secant squared theta d theta over 3 secant theta. Ayan. So, therefore, I is equal to, ganun pa rin, 81 divided by 3. That's 27 times tangent. So, maka-cancel out yung isang second. So, I'll have secant, unahin lang natin tangent. Tangent cube theta secant theta d theta. So, eto, familiar ulit to from the previous lesson. We could use another substitution for this. So, again, add to siya. We could make use of tangent squared theta is equal to secant squared theta minus 1, right? So, therefore, we'll have the integral of tangent theta times secant squared theta minus 1 times secant theta d theta. Okay, then simplify, we'll have 27 times, so this would be secant cube theta tangent theta d theta minus, so wait ha, lagyan natin ng, or dito na lang, grouping symbol, minus secant theta tangent theta d theta. Yan. So therefore, we'll have I is equal to 27 times, ay ganun pa rin, di ba? Times the integral of secant, pwede natin isulat to as secant squared theta times secant theta tangent theta d theta, then minus the integral of secant theta tangent theta d theta. And the rest is very easy. Or the next process is very easy. So I is equal to 27 times eto siya. This is now u raised to n du because the derivative of secant theta is just secant theta tangent theta d theta. Okay? Ganun din dito. We have, this is part of our formula. So we know that the integral of this is just the integral of this is just secant theta. Okay. So we'll have 27 times. So this is now secant cube theta over 3 minus, this is now secant theta plus c. Oh, sorry. Dito pala yung grouping symbol. Ito. Yan. Or I is equal to 9 secant cube theta minus 27 secant theta plus c. So if we could reconstruct the triangle, remember that what we substituted was x is equal to 3 tangent theta. Okay? So that we know that if tangent theta is equal to x over 3, we know that tangent is opposite over adjacent. So therefore, this is the square root of x squared plus 9. Okay, so therefore we have I is equal to a secant. We know that secant theta from the illustration, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay, so therefore this is secant, so hypotenuse over adjacent, then cube minus 27 times hypotenuse over adjacent, then plus c. Sorry, di na nakita. So we'll have I is equal to, this is 9 over 3 cube. So 9 over 27, that's 1/3. So 1/3 times, ganitohin na lang natin, x squared plus 9 raised to 3 halves. Then this would be 27 over 3. So that is 9 times x squared plus 9 raised to 1 half. Then plus c, that is our final answer. Ganun lang kadali. Okay, next sample problem. If we have this integral, let's call this I. So that's the integral of the square root of 5 plus 4x minus x squared dx. So, dapat makita muna natin in order for us to apply the trigonometric substitutions that we discussed kanina, kailangan lumabas muna yung a squared plus x squared, or i-generalize natin a squared plus u squared, or a squared minus u squared, or u squared minus u squared minus a squared. So, dapat lumabas muna yung mga terms na yon. But in this case, we have a trinomial. Okay? So familiar na tayo dun sa solution in our discussion on inverse trigonometric functions, diba? May mga trinomial din doon that we just use completing the squares in order to create a perfect square trinomial. So in this case, how would we make this a perfect square trinomial? If we have 4x minus x squared. So that would be 5 plus 4x minus x squared. I could rewrite this as 5 minus x squared minus 4x. Diba? Pwedeng ganon. If I make this, I'll change this into a perfect square trinomial, then I'll have 5 minus x squared minus 4x, then negative 4 divided by 2, that would be 2, then squared, that would be positive 4. This is now a perfect square trinomial, but kung we need to add 4 there, kailangan yung 5, di na to 5 siya dito. Di na siya 5 dito. It should be a number minus 4, the result should be 5. So that this should be equal to 9 because 9 minus 4 is 5. So para pareho na sila. Eto, these are just the same or equal. So therefore, we could rewrite, or I could rewrite I as the integral of the square root of 9 minus x squared minus 4x plus 4 dx. Okay? Then this is now, if we rewrite this further to this form, so a minus, this is as the square of x minus 2, right? Then dx. So therefore, this is now a squared minus u squared, right? Wherein a squared is equal to 9, so therefore a is equal to 3. So, we know that if a squared minus u squared ang mag-appear, we'll try u is equal to a sine theta. So therefore, we let u, ano yung u natin? X minus 2 equal to a sine theta. So we'll have a, which is 3. Ito, because this is a squared, so ang a natin is 3 sine theta. So this is our substitution. So it follows that dx, so derivative of this, that is just dx, is equal to 3 cosine theta d theta. Ganun lang. And since lumabas yung x minus 2 squared, so therefore x minus 2 squared is just equal to the square of this, which is 9 sine theta. Okay. So therefore we'll have I is equal to the square root of, or the integral of the square root of 9 minus, eto na, this one. So 9 minus 9 sine, square pala to dito. 9 sine squared theta d theta, or dx, which is 3 cosine theta d theta. Then simplify. So we'll have I, that's equal to, ilabas na lang natin yung 3, times the integral of, if we factor out 9, we'll have 1 minus sine squared theta, then this is cosine theta, d theta na lang magtitira dyan. So therefore, we'll have 3 times the integral of the square root of 9 is just 3 times, remember that this is cosine squared theta, and the square root of cosine squared theta is just cosine theta. So I have cosine theta times cosine theta d theta. Okay, then we'll have I is equal to 3 times 3, 9, integral of cosine squared theta d theta. And we know how to solve this kind of integral, diba? We already solved this before. We'll just use we just use the power reduction formula. So we know that cosine squared theta is equal to 1/2, diba? 1/2, what was that? 1 plus cosine 2 theta. Okay, so therefore I is equal to 9 times the integral of 1/2, 1 plus cosine 2 theta d theta. So therefore I is equal to 9 over 2 times the integral of the theta plus the integral of cosine 2 theta d theta. Mamaya na plus c. Okay. So therefore, I is equal to 9 halves times, this is theta, excuse me, plus the integral of this, that's positive sign, di ba? But since the derivative of 2 theta is 2 d theta, so we need to multiply by 1 half. So we'll have 1 half sine 2 theta plus c. So simplify muna natin dito, distribute muna natin, that would be 9 halves theta plus 9/4 sine 2 theta plus c. Okay, but wait, there's more. If we now substitute it, replace it or substitute it back to its algebraic form, ito yung substitution natin kanina. Our angle is only theta because what we substituted was x minus 2 equal to a sine theta. Tama ba? Or 3 sine theta. Okay? Or sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So if we reconstruct the triangle, we have this opposite over hypotenuse. So the other side, that would be yung kanina na 9. Ano yung original form niya? Ito, 4x, 5. Yun na lang gamitin natin. Or sige, ito na lang muna. Minus x minus 2 squared. Or we could rewrite this as the square root of 5 plus, ano yun? 4x minus x squared. Pwedeng ganyan. Okay. So we will now replace it or change this back to its algebraic form. So, ito yung this is our substitution kanina, or ito actually. So therefore, if you want to solve for theta, looking at this, that would be arc sine of this. So therefore, we'll have I is equal to 9 halves times the arc sine, wag na natin lagyan ng bracket, times the arc sine of x minus 2 over 3. Okay, ganyan. Then plus 9 over 4. Okay, but wait, there's more. Remember that sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cosine theta. We need to change this back to single angle lang because yun yung ano natin, angle dito. Theta lang, hindi siya, we don't have a replacement for 2 theta. So, change this back to 2 sine theta cosine theta. So, 9 over 4 times this. So, that would be 9 halves na lang to. So, you need to change this back to 9 halves or change that to 9 halves. Then, sine theta. Ano yung sine theta? Ito. Given na. Sine theta is, x minus 2 over 3 times cosine theta. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So, adjacent is 5 plus 4x minus x squared over hypotenuse, which is 3. Okay. So, our answer would be 9 halves arc, di ko ba natatakpan? Arc sine x minus 2 over 3. And then plus, so just combine this. 3 times 3, cancel that out. So, 1 half na lang. Then, x minus 2 square root of 5 plus 4 x minus x squared plus 3. So, that is our answer. Easy. So, for your assignment, you practice on these 3 problems. These are all taken from your problem set para mabawasan pa. And you submit to me your answers.